All right, welcome back to Bargain Bin. All right,
Yeah.
and this is a series we do on
Uh,
the channel where we dive into a random game that's $5 or less in value.
yeah.
Currently, it could change, but it's currently on the Switch eShop, valued at $2.99. Last week, Alec picked out this game for us, and we alternate each time we do this. This is only our second installment in Bargain Bin,
hmm
and we said we said when we started this series, we have to kind of play it by ear, whether we think we played enough to review it, or it's like a first impressions sort of situation. And we're very much in a gray area here, where we both feel like we got a good impression of it. But me personally, I know I'm not completely definitive on how I
Yeah.
feel about it yet. So I don't. It's kind of like a gray area. We're gonna give our first impression score. I don't
hmm
know exactly we call it a review or what. I don't know. Something
Yeah.
to
It's kind of
think about.
is it's true. I like because I think I know what I would give this game just based on the sort of vertical slice that I got from it. I think I saw most of what the game had in the sense that like I know what the general flow of the game is going to be, and I
Yeah.
mean they'll likely introduce new mechanics, but I think I get a good idea of like what the bulk of the game, the technical aspects of the game are going to be moving forward. So like that, in a sense, I think I know like how I feel about the game. But that being said, like there could be stuff that comes along that I don't really like a whole lot. It could be stuff that even drastically improves my
Mm-hmm.
perspective. It is kind of in a we are kind of in a 3 hours is it's good. I think it's a good way to get an idea of what the game is going to be like, especially when it's a shorter game. But it is sort of hard to say like, do I know what I would score the game? That's sort of
Especially
difficult.
when the
But
narrative is very present in this game, and it's not like just a raw
yeah,
like
I
platformer that you don't even need to care about what's happening or what's to come.
right.
So
I think probably once upon a time when this game was being advertised, I probably like saw like remembered that it was like, oh yeah, it had a narrative, like a really actually pretty strong narrative, like that's kind of
mm-hmm.
the driving thrust of the game. But I totally forgot about that. When I booted up, I was like, "Oh, whoa, boy, okay, we're getting a real story here." Okay,
And it's not
so
like if it's a party game, if it's a platformer, these kinds of things, it's like we don't need to see
mhm,
how things resolve fully or something to give a
right,
full opinion.
right,
But so here's our first impression scores. All right, let's see.
yeah, right.
So 3, 2, 1, flip. 6.5.
Oh, okay. I get an 8.
8.
So,
Okay.
yep.
My thing is, I'm definitely compelled to play more.
hmm
There's definitely a lot of intrigue in there. I don't get the impression it's super polished in some areas, and I think the backgrounds are like really like bland to me. Like sometimes there's some cool things in the background, but for the most part, I mean, we've only seen limited a couple areas. That's my only thing too.
hmm
I don't know what all the different towns look like, but
Right. I think to me, I almost am wondering if some of this is because like I don't know if you ran into this or not, but I ran into some pretty rough little glitches and strange things happening, and I'm wondering if a lot of this is due to Switch limiting. I don't know
hmm,
definitively, but if I had to take a guess, just knowing how multi-platform stuff works on the Switch, I'm gonna guess a lot of these issues are not in the other versions of the game.
yeah,
Just gonna throw
it's
that out
possible.
there.
It's possible. So
um,
we'll preface that we're reviewing the Switch
yeah,
version of this game specifically. Yeah.
yes, because like I will say, I started playing this on handheld mode, like initially,
Hmm.
for like the first like maybe few minutes, and I was like, nah, I can't play this game that way. Like it just it's too muddy, it's too low res on the
Hmm.
screen. It's like it just didn't really work. So once I put it up on a screen on like a TV, the game looked completely different, looked so much better to me.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think that like it's maybe a tad bland, but I think in terms of like the general environments, but I think that's saved by the lighting,
Hmm.
because the lighting is so, it sets such a mood and such a vibe, and also just the general character designs too
Hmm.
are just
I
whimsical
love the
up the,
freaks. Yeah.
yeah, they're just freaks. Everyone's a bunch
Like,
of freaks, and I love
ironically,
them.
like the main character is like the least interesting design. The
Yeah,
everybody else you run into are freaks.
she's just kind of normal girl, and
Hmm.
that's sort of like the whole point. Because yeah,
Yeah.
you have a whole cadre of weirdos and, and
And I will say
strange.
the voice acting ranges. There's a range of like, I remember early on there was like these first two characters I ran into. I was like, oh, it was very. I was not a
Yeah,
fan of that. It was like very like you could tell they were putting on like, it is me. I'm talking in a voice like this.
yeah.
And
I actually, yeah, I actually agree, because like it did take me a little bit to like, because I gave it, I just gave it an 8. Like I'm very positive.
yeah.
I was not like the first maybe like 15, 20, 30 minutes of this game. I don't know if I was really feeling it like as much as I did, but then a lot of the writing kicked in. The
Mm-hmm.
This game is, I'm laughing all the time out loud. This
Mm-hmm.
game is very funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, the writing is just like super good. It's very, it's goofy. It's like, it reminds me sort of like Psychonauts meets The Nightmare Before Christmas meets um there was another game in there, or another game or another property in there that it sort of reminded me of too, but I don't remember. Something like almost like Banjo Kazooie. Like it's almost British in terms of its sensibilities, in
Yeah.
terms of its humor. So, and I don't remember who developed this game. I don't remember all the details about who developed this game, or but I will say, I don't know if you ran into this, but some NPCs are speaking in a foreign language, and I don't know what that language is. I don't know
Mm,
if it's a made up language for the game.
right.
I thought it almost sounded like it could have been like Finnish or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know
Um,
if it was real or not.
but
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 yeah.
yeah, after those initial characters, pretty much everyone since has been like, spot on. Really, really pretty good voice cast. So
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part, they're good. Yeah. The first couple, I was like, oh, we're in for
yeah,
some.
yeah. Ooh,
Uh,
I don't know about that.
I like the narrator's voice though. Very much gets you in the vibe.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah. I will say there's some fun dialogue, but it does have a couple of times where it has my pet peeve in some of these games where it's like it gives you like two options of things to say in dialogue,
hmm,
and they're like basically the same thing. Like there was one point in particular,
yeah.
it was like one option is thank you, and the other option is yay. I'm like, which one do I pick? You know, I'm like, that's always been a pet peeve of mine. I noticed, and not even just like narrative based games, like RPGs will throw in this every now and then where it lets you pick an option. You can tell clearly either option will lead to the same response, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing something. I'm choosing something.
What? Well, hey, one of my favorite games of all time is Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age, and that game gives you yes and no all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Nothing.
does
Yeah.
nothing. It does absolutely nothing. Like it might
Mm-hmm.
as well know. And the characters love to talk in that game, in those games. So,
Yeah.
it, uh,
Like
yeah,
they'll give some
it
general
doesn't really,
statement that like clearly is not
yeah.
referring specifically to what they said. It's like, oh, okay. Um,
So it doesn't bother me all that much, but like
yeah.
I understand where you're coming from there.
And there was also a couple of points where I was annoyed where it would like there was a bunch of options would pop up. I'd pick like
Mm.
one, I'd get through like one or two, and then it would lead to like the conversation ending before I could get to the other options. It was kind of weird, but
Yeah, well, I think some of that is intentional. Like it is, so it is kind of like
well, because it seems like
there's
some
an
points there's like
intentionality to
you're
some of it
giving a
there.
choice between dialogue options, and then it seems like
Mm.
other times where it seems like it's purposefully. Can I get information about this and then
Can I
this
get
and then this?
lore, basically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it actually cut me out sometimes from more of it. It was like okay, yeah. So I only encountered one significant glitch that I noticed, and that was
Okay.
in the spotlight level in the very beginning. Did you have anything there?
Oh, interesting. No, I didn't have any issues there.
All I did was
What happened?
like I was nowhere near a spotlight. I jumped down from like a platform, and I was like towards the end, and it just slid me all the way through the level to the back to the start. Like my character flew through
Oh
the
my
whole place.
god, that's that's horrible.
Like, what's going on?
That's horrible. No, my glitches were I ran into one where I couldn't talk to anybody anymore. The game refused to let me
Mm-hmm.
talk to anyone, so I'd hit the
That's
A button and
terrifying.
I couldn't talk to anyone. And I was like, what? Why isn't it letting me talk to anybody? I don't understand what's going on. That's weird. Let me talk to somebody. So I had to I had to restart the game or reboot the
Mm.
game basically. And then there was another one that I don't know if I don't remember if it was like a full on game crash or um or what it was, but I will know I will say again I think this is feels to me like it's the Switch hardware where it's like you'll a cutscene will end and then like 15 things will like flash in like 2 frames
Mm.
and then the screen will go black and then it will
Mm-hmm.
come back again and it
Mm-hmm.
was like okay it's just gonna reload the whatever it's going on next here and then
Well, that's what I mean when it
um
felt like there wasn't a certain level of polish. That I have a hard time giving it too high a score based on these first few
yeah
hours. And it's like, yeah, I could say it's for the Switch. I don't know for sure though. And for the Switch version, if I'm reviewing this, and I'm like, well,
mm,
that's an issue. But um, it's got the charm to it to make it
th-
so it's not unplayable, and like I
yeah
genuinely am interested in playing more. I also, yeah, like
that's
you were saying about the first
that's what's
15 to
boosting it for
20
me.
minutes, I was like, yeah, the first half hour or so, I was like, I'm gonna definitely want to just get the 3 hours and see myself out probably. But then by the
Yeah.
end, they were getting me more into it with the characters and actually like going around the town and whatnot. So yeah, yeah, I didn't get to
Yeah,
play more than
I
three, but I
based
would like to.
yeah, basically the first hour is kind of dull. I like it in terms of setting the stage, but
Yeah.
once you get dicey,
Oh,
that then the whole game is like
oh,
completely opens up and works a lot better.
dicey.
Um, because then it's like then we have battle mechanics. It's like okay, so we're
Yeah,
really revolving around this idea of board games is like the huge thing of the game, and this is something that like it leans into this aesthetic and this vibe so hard, and I loved it so much. Like this is the thing where it's like I like the charm is really to me is like why I love this game so much.
mm,
It's like even the map, like the map screen, looks like a board game map. Like it looks like a Candyland
right, right.
almost. Like it's sort of twisting and turning. It's has spaces.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting and so fun. The then in essence of that, then when you're fighting, which is like the main kind of the main like gameplay beat, is that you build up basically you build up a meter that will fill up Dicey, and he'll uh, has like a deck of 15 cards, and he's shuffling all the cards, and the meter will fill up, and he'll draw a card, and then when you have a hand of 5, you get to roll him, and then whatever the result of what you roll on him is the amount of energy that you have. Time will freeze. You get to choose your deck, which allows you to like have weapons. It allows you to like cheats. Basically, it's like breaks the game or like gives you an upper hand or an unfair advantage over your opponents, as well as like hazards and defense things. It's really cool. There's like I finally get to a point towards the end of when I was playing where I actually had more than just 15 cards. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
now you can really like deck build. And that to me, like, deck building is like, I love it. I feel like I don't play enough board games where this is a mechanic, or maybe I should say rather, whenever I've played board games where this is a mechanic, I'm not very good at it. But I love it as a mechanic. Like Slay the Spire is like a fantastic game. It's a deck building game,
Mm.
and um, having a Queen's Blood is a deck building game. I mean, it's not really a deck building game because you do have to have a hand of 15. But in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's a card game. There is deck building aspects to it. You have to there's a huge assortment of cards in that game. You can kind of like mix and match what cards you have in that. So, but I love that it's like it has aspects of turn-based play, but it's also like an active battle system where it's an action game where you're like running around and attacking stuff, but it has aspects of turn-based in it. And like initially I thought, ooh, this might be a little too complicated, but like after I did like my first battle, I was like, okay, no, this makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that's really fun, and I've already encountered fights in this first major area of the game. That yeah, it was actually kind of hard. There's actually parts of it where I'm like, wow, this is a little challenging. So,
See,
but
honestly, for me, I found it too easy at times.
well,
So,
where you're at. I never had a problem with it. It was very easy.
hmm.
It quickly ramps up the difficulty when you start having to deal with waves of enemies.
Hmm.
It quickly becomes a lot more challenging and a lot more interesting too, because it's like you're not just doing like a wave of enemies and then you're done. It's like, okay, no, we have to do things where it's like we have to kill certain enemies in order to progress further on to the next wave. But then other enemies are spawning, and then you have to like deal with, if you're not drawing the right cards in your hand, then it's like you might have to wait around for a turn. And so yeah, it's like I'll say because we compared to about how far we got. I probably went another half hour to an hour further than you. And that's kind of where the difficulty started to like ramp up a little bit. To a point where I was very satisfied with the difficulty. I think it was a little too easy, maybe up until that point, but I think it's easing you into more difficulty.
My point being that I never really had to use it. Like, I found most of the cards to not be necessary. Like, I would just use the different like attack
Sword.
ones. Yeah, mostly sword, and then I bought a couple other ones, but the sword was the easiest one to get, and usually that did the trick.
Mm-hmm.
And you could usually get away from the enemies pretty quickly. It's not like too much of a looming threat, and you just keep shooting the crystals on the enemies to get more, and you get more cards, and it just keep going. But yeah. So that's why I definitely can't give a definitive my definitive take on the game, because I haven't even got to the challenge or any of the boss or anything. So
Yeah, because I think I remember even saying out loud to my friend of mine that was watching, my housemate that was watching, like I was like to an encounter that was like I was like, ooh, this just got a little like they just raised the difficulty a little bit on me right here. Like, like I was kind of breezing through it before then, but then it was like, oh, now I have to like deal with waves and stuff, and to kind of like plan out different card combinations. So,
but yeah, I mean, I will say the
yeah,
premise
it's fun.
is right up my alley. I love random stuff. I love randomizing things. Random rules, baby.
I was gonna say random rules, Zach. I was gonna say I was like I didn't even I kind of just went with it because it was like one of the it was one of the first major games that I recognized that was on sale. And I was like, oh yeah, I was interested in this game, and then as I was playing it, I was like, oh, this fits us like really well, like random, like Lost in Random.
Yeah,
but it's like randomness is like a huge element
they're
of the.
so into it. Everybody gets named after random like number things. There's the towns are named after numbers. You roll a dice to decide your like fate. Once you reach a certain age, it decides what town you get sorted. Like it's a freaking random sorting hat that decides your living conditions. And then like the whole combat system is based on random rolling the dice. There's a lot. There's a lot. Really, yeah, really leaned into the randomness, and a lot of puns on things being random or numbers and stuff like that. For sure.
Yeah, I mean the main character's name is Even, and her sister's name is Odd. So, yeah, it's a great adventure for Even to try to figure out where her sister like is the queen. Is she actually safe with the queen? There seems to be this mysterious ghost that's
Clearly
leading her
not.
onward.
Clearly up to no
Clearly
good.
not.
Clearly a sinister
Yeah,
queen with
yeah.
the freakish lady on her side as well.
She's really the queen is really scary.
Yeah.
Like it really fantastic character
It's
design.
like
I think
Studio
overall,
Ghibli
very
freak kind of.
yeah. It's like Studio Ghibli meets German expressionism.
Yeah,
Like that's what I say. It's very feels very Burton esque in a lot of ways. Um, and I love that. I love that aesthetic. It works really well for the whimsical nature of the game in general.
that's for sure.
Um,
So yeah, so I assume the narrative kind of spells itself out, like pretty straightforward. We're gonna go from one town all the way up to six. You know, it
mhm,
seems to be exactly where we're going with it. But
mhm.
yeah. So I was kind of underwhelmed with the design of Two Town. You know, it was like pretty bland, and it's like that's why I'm curious. Like, will the as we get into later towns, will it get more colorful, more interesting looking? I don't know. Or is they all like
Yeah,
gonna be kind of drab in the background? I don't know.
yeah. I'm curious too because especially because like the storybook has like a lot of different colors in the little storybook. That one is almost like sepia or red
Mm,
toned to a lot of it in the. So as you're playing through the game, you pick up like a lore, basically a lore book that tells you like the history of the world of random.
yeah.
Um, and and yeah, that has like a lot more color in it. And I'm almost wondering if yeah, I'm kind of hoping that's the case as well because like I love it for it really is sticking to that like aesthetic and look, which I like, but I agree that the towns do need to feel more distinct from each other. I think they do as like visually, and I think the lighting does a lot of legwork there, but it is a little muddy. And I think that like
Like, is
hopefully
you've been to the third one,
hopefully
right?
the other towns.
Is that look any
I
different?
haven't actually entered.
Oh, okay.
So I like I get to the point where I can enter in, but I haven't actually like been into the town
I
yet.
forget all the
So
names. They all were like, the number mixed with a type of town or city.
yeah,
Like three. One of them has like something with city in it.
it's
Six
funny because
in.
it was kind of Earthbound esque because the name of the towns in Earthbound are all
Mm-hmm.
there's one at Tucson. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember what the three one Fourside. I don't remember the three town in Earthbound is called, but Fourside. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I was like, oh, it's just like that. Except they came up with different ones. I'm gonna let me look them up. So we got One Croft, Two Town, Freedom, Forberg, Five Tropolis, and Sixtopia.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Well, it's especially cool because like it actually the name of the towns also then give you an idea of like the almost like the caste or the social status of it. One Croft is sort of like a it's just kind of a lower tier. Two, it's a town. Freedom, it's like oh okay, it's like a almost like a fiefdom or a kingdom of some kind. And then Forberg, it's a much more larger area. Metropolis, Five Tropolis, and then Sixtopia, the utopia of you can live with a queen and luxury.
Sixtopia better hit. It better hit when you land in that. When you stroll up in there, you better feel like, man, these are the real privileged folk here. That's what it should feel like.
The queen's holding out on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should feel like.
But yeah, so they give you a taste of a couple of like side quests in the mix. I had no
Mm-hmm.
idea going into this game until I looked at like the menu that there would be like side quests involved. I wouldn't have thought that. But it's cool.
Do you also know another? Oh, I know the other game that this reminded me of,
Mm-hmm.
and this is in a way that this game did it way better than this other game did, and that game is Epic Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting some Epic Mickey vibes from this, in terms of its general vibe and aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this game did it better. It's not this game is specifically not a platformer. There's no platforming to be had. It's there's
Yeah, no
pretty much
jump. I
just like
can't even
running around.
jump.
There's no jump mechanic. There's no jumping.
I would love to jump.
Um,
Let me jump though.
I kind of would like to jump, but the world design is not
But
intended for you to
it
jump.
did
So
bother me seeing so many different things that was like clearly I can just get up there. But it's like you need to go down these specific ledges you need to jump down from. You can't even like jump down from
mhm.
you have to go over to the specific like decorated ledge. But I like
Oh,
to jump around.
that fits with the board game. You can only move to certain spaces at certain
Mm,
given times.
yeah. But it's like Epic Mickey, but better.
Yeah, in the sense that like it sort of has a almost like a dark and brooding kind of like atmosphere. And actually, to Epic Mickey's credit, that's actually one of the things that it does well. Um, I just think the game around it is really bad.
Mm.
The game, meanwhile, the game around this is pretty good. I don't think it's not like the most amazing game I've ever played, but it's pretty much hits all the boxes for me in terms of making it interesting and engaging and makes me want to play more.
Yeah, I'm compelled enough to play more, but I still need to be sold on it. Like you said, the difficulty
Mhm.
ramps up. I just need to see it for myself because like I generally like the
Yeah.
card system, but yeah, as
Mhm.
it stands, I'm pretty much prioritizing just the attack ones, and I don't really need the other ones. So I'm like,
Yeah,
see,
well, especially because like early on, that's like pretty much all you have. It's like attacking, healing, and then there's like some other trick cards, but it's like you don't really.
but
Yeah, they are
I
basically
went to the
useless before
shop
you
and I
start to.
bought a bunch of them, but I'm like, I don't really need to
Mhm.
use most of these. Prioritize the attacks, and I'm pretty sure I'll be all right. But yeah, how about that guy? The guy who's like in the shop is like
He
he opens
he built a
himself up,
shop around himself. Yeah,
or was he born that way? We don't know. That's the
we don't know. He
question.
was kept it very vague.
Yeah,
He kept it. You asked him, and he kept it very vague about. You even asked us like, "Is all your family like this?" Is like, who knows? You'll never know. It's
yeah.
like, okay, geez, just keep your secrets, I guess.
But yeah, there's some weird mystery about it, to where like a dice gets
Mm,
rolled, and then like people's personalities change based on it. But then some people's personalities aren't affected as much. Some people's are more like change more often. It's weird. There's a weird vibe going
yeah,
on.
Two Town is dualistic. So that you show up there and they're talking about building a second moon, just finishing a second moon that they're making.
Yeah.
They're making a second town, also
Upside down
upside down
town.
town.
Yeah.
So, um, and yeah, this game does have a very it's a very like oh, Alice in Wonderland is the other thing I was thinking of. It's like Alice in Wonderland meets
Hmm.
all those other things that I said. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it was hitting.
Hmm.
It was hitting. I think that like technical stuff aside, I think that is kind of what's holding it back for me. I think if technical issues also persist, that could actually that could bump the game down a little bit
Yeah.
more. Like,
Because it can't help but think
um,
with like more polish would do for a game for like
yeah.
this.
Mhm.
Or like I'd be curious if it's just as rough around the edges if you played on the PlayStation 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, bang for your buck, though. I mean, I think this
three
is.
dollars.
I think this is a. Yeah, I think this is. I've had a pretty wonderful time for
Yeah,
that amount of money.
it's definitely worth three
Um,
dollars.
yeah, for sure.
But you get into some weird stuff like you have to go and like trade words.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the quests.
Yep, I love that.
Trade this word with someone. Like, okay. And then there's a guy who's got like two different uh, two different guys on one
Mm-hmm.
head,
On one body.
and you have to
Yep.
decide who to who to give. What do we have to give for them?
A
Bloobs.
bloob. You had to give
That's right.
bloobs to them. Yeah.
Forgot about the bloobs.
I think my favorite out of pocket interaction were the twins.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That
right.
was just like
We
that. Just
should.
like went to a place I was like, well, okay, this game is going to
Yeah,
those places. All right,
we
that was
share
weird.
everything, including our husbands.
It's
Huh?
just like, yeah, I was at. Wait, what? What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I thought that was the thing that we did.
Hmm.
It's like, all right, I'm gonna have to have a talk with my sister now.
Yeah, I just wish
Um,
maybe it was more fleshed out in terms of the design of the town, because it's like you meet these cool weird characters, but it is really you get into
hmm.
the two town, and you just kind of go down a line, and you even get to a point where you're just going down a line of characters. They're posted up, and then
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of weaving and wobbing, especially if you're looking around for places to get coins. There's
Yeah,
plenty of places like little nooks and crannies to look around.
there are nooks and crannies. There are nooks and crannies, but I just wish it
Yeah.
was more like interesting. Something more interesting to look at.
Yeah, I'm
Than we did.
hoping. I am hoping that future towns are a little bit more dynamic. I
Yeah,
think this was fine for what it was, but yeah,
and
I
I would.
agree. If it continues to be like just like that, then some of the novelty of that will die
Well,
down.
that's where the problem comes in, is that we can't fully assess because it could be
Yeah.
somewhat intentional. Because like
Right.
then the towns get more interesting as they go on, and they're
Hmm.
like, they're supposed to be better as the numbers go up anyway.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It
Yeah.
remains to be seen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we could do a follow up on this somehow.
Yeah, it'd probably have to be like on a podcast or something. We'd
I
maybe
don't
just
know.
have to mention it somehow by hand.
But I'd like to. It would
by
be nice
by
to
hand.
lock in a score on it. You
Yeah,
know. I don't know
would
if
be.
I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do lock in a score right now. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it's hard to say because I think that like I am in this zone of like I'm really enjoying it, but um,
I'm very much in a
it's
zone
not.
where I could go up though. For
Yeah,
me, like that's why
right.
I'm quelling it. And with the performance of it, I'm at the 6.5, but I could easily see
Mm,
myself going up at least a point or so. And like I don't see it going below like a 6, but it could go up to an 8 potentially.
mm, hmm.
You know, because
Yeah, I mean mine. I'm pretty sure mine's like liable to just stay where this is,
hmm,
but it's also could come down depending on certain factors for sure.
yeah,
So like it could come down to 7.57, even down to 6.5, depending on
because
if there's
if it
more
just is
frustrating
the same,
aspects.
if it's the same like you know
Yeah.
lack of depth each town, then it'll
Hmm.
definitely be like, all right. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping not though. And
I
it's
hope not
for
too, because I
all from what I've
might
seen,
enjoy
it
it.
seems to be received quite well. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm optimistic on it. Looking forward to more.
Hmm.
All right. So what do we do? What do we do?
I guess I don't know. I mean, I recommend it. I
I
definitely
recommend.
recommend picking it up. If you can get it on sale, great. It's definitely, by the time this comes out, it's not going to be on sale anymore. But
Oh yeah. When does the sale end?
I think the sale ends like today.
And what
I
does it
want to
go
say it
back
ends
to?
like.
$30?
I
Does
mean,
it
I don't
go
know.
back to
Check your
full
Switch.
price?
Well, hold on. Let me check
I don't
let
think
me
I
check
can check
Nintendo.
because I own
Oh,
it.
I can check on. I look up Lost and Random eShop. It is currently $30 right now.
All right. That's a tough. That's a tough one. That's a
Yeah,
tough
that's
ask.
a little tough to say at that
All
point, at
right.
that
So then don't
price.
buy it.
Well,
Damn.
it's
That's
tough because
tough.
like digital games at $30 are that's like it really does sort of have to be like
Yeah.
yeah, that's quite a.
That's a tough.
Mm.
That's a tough recommendation with that price. But as always,
Mm,
when we do bargain bin, it's never a guarantee it'll be the price that we got it for by the time we review it or talk about it. And so all we can say is it worth the amount we paid for? Yes, absolutely.
100%,
So
yeah.
if it goes on sale again, definitely.
Which it's likely to. I think it's definitely been on sale before. I actually just literally just saw a Reddit post like from 2022 where it was on sale for like $5.
Yeah, I'd say
So I
like
mean, heck
anything
yeah,
$8 or less is where I would say definitely worth it.
yeah. I think I'd agree with that. Yeah, anything 8 or less, definitely pick it up. I mean, even borderline 10, this is probably worth it at that. But like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you get your money's worth certainly out of that. But it's like if you can you're patient, you can get it for cheaper and definitely bang for your buck, especially at the price that we get it
If
at.
you don't,
So
and if you're not sure, roll a
yeah,
dice.
roll the dice 1 through 6. What dollar amount are you gonna
What
wait
you're willing to
gonna
pay. Yeah.
get? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. You could do that.
you roll a d20. You can roll a d20, and that from there you can figure out like
Yeah.
20. Ah, I rolled a
Yeah, like
15.
how
Oh,
much will
I
we
guess
get
I
into
gotta.
other dice? We
Yeah,
saw a four-sided dice come into play
yeah.
as like, oh, people didn't think
There's
this was a dice, but it is.
there's a card that references the icosahedron, which is a 20-sided dice. So we may be seeing upwards of
That's stuff of legends right there.
Yeah, the icosahedron is a 3-dimensional geometric shape with 20 faces. So yeah.
But this world's pretty fucked. Like everything's relying on these dice. There's like gates. The gate to the third town, you can't open up without a dice, and like dice are like extinct as far as everyone knows, and we happen to have one.
It's the queen. Queen rules it all with her dice. Her black dice. She has is a crazy
and then
power.
You're just stuck there. You're stuck in Two Town. Which is remarkably close to Toontown, which I also like. Toontown's got a lot more color to it. Random rules.
It does.
Random rules. Can we just incorporate that in like every random series we do now?
Yeah, maybe we should just say random rules.
Random rules. Like
random rules.
Random rules. It's like
they have a salute for it now too.
It's like basically them saying "Long live the Queen" is essentially the vibe you get from them saying random rules. You know, it's like, yeah.
Well, there was one guy. There was one guy in Onecroft that was basically like, "I worship the Queen." And I was like, "All right, you're a little creepy."
Yeah, I love the weird, fucked up guys. And yeah, the character I just ran into, I forget what his name is, but he seems cool.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's fun.
He's got like 3 eyes, but 2 of them are closed. Is that what it was?
He's got one really big eye in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him a lot. He's a funny fella.
So I'm into it.
He reminds me a little bit of Norm Macdonald. A little bit. I get Norm vibes from him for sure. So
hopefully we get to talk about it more in the future. But as always, sometimes it happens where we want to play more and then we just don't get to or end up not playing more. Especially now with we got a Gents challenge we're in the thick of, and both of us desperately need to make progress on. And,
I've made 0 progress on my games, so.
And we've always got stuff going on here in the channel, but
I know, busy beavers.
Busy. Oh yeah. So we'll see. All we can say is we intend and would like to play more. So
definitely, for sure.
All right. So thanks for watching. I guess we'll leave it at that. We can't lock in. It's not a full review, but we give our paddle scores in the beginning.
Yeah,
and that's where we're at. That's we just get the gut check, and that's where we're at because we're at.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Yeah. So,
right. So it's a not locked in score of 7.25.
Right. That's right. So, all right.
It would be great. I mean, there's always the option if we both happen to finish it at a later date. Come back and review it,
True.
But as always, every couple months we're trying to mix in some bargain bin. Now it's a new series on the channel. I get to pick the next game.
Yeah, you do. Get to determine what's what.
And it's a lot of power. I can really go full chaos mode and
and give another Leo's fortune.
Like Fast Food Truck Simulator 3 on the horizon, something like that.
Oh, did you see that there was a news article that said like a bunch of the hentai games on the Switch got purged? And I was like,
"Oh no, we need to get on them while we still can."
I know. We gotta hurry up and grab them.
Or freaking what you call it? What kind of puzzles they are? Slide puzzles.
They're puzzles. Just like horrible trash, garbage.
3 hours of hentai
AI.
slide puzzles.
God, this is so bad. It's so embarrassing. It's just like, come on. Just scroll on Twitter and you get that for free. I don't know why you have to.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely some garbage out there. There's still a lot of gems to get into. So who knows where we'll go next? But we have tons of series here in the channel, and a couple in a very similar vein. We have Chance Time, where we spin that wheel and it decides a random movie that we watch the next week. We have Pilot Palette, where we get a completely random TV pilot that we watch and decide if we want to watch more from that. So,
right.
I don't know. something to look forward to every month. We try to get at least one of those every month and alternate them as much as we can. But then we also have movie reviews we're doing, discussions, other random series and shenanigans, games we like to play. All right. So stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel for more. Like the video. Let us know your thoughts below. If you played this game and you think it's worth going further into or not, what are your thoughts on it? Let us know. And
if you maybe pick this up as part of this, or have it lying around, we'd like to hear from you.
Is there a physical version of this game?
That's a great question. I don't think so, but maybe.
So you might not have it lying around.
You're lying around on your hard drive.
Not on the lying around. It will never lie around in the bargain bin. Truly.
No, I guess maybe not. Maybe not truly.
$30 up there, sitting there on the shelf. $30.
Primo and random.
Random rules. If you enjoyed this video, what video should our viewers watch next, or should we decide by random?
Why don't we decide by random?
I got a playlist of all the Tarqaron videos. I'll just bring a random video.
Sure, yeah, do it right now.
I genuinely thought of doing this. I kept thinking of doing this for just actually my suggestions, because I feel like there's so many we forget about, so many videos we've done. And I'm like, let me just pull out a random on this, because you can just shuffle and give me a random video. Right. 713 videos in this playlist.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shuffle it.
Yeah. What do we got?
Go check out the pilot palette next departure for February 2025, where we pick out the pilot that we already talked about.
That's crazy that's the video of all the 700 videos we had. That's the one it picked.
That might be fun to do every time, honestly.
Yeah. I think
kind of chaotic. Yeah. Sometimes we like to tie it in, but what if we just random?
All right,
we'll think about it. Random rules. So, thank you for watching.